So we had the last A block night 15 today. So we have the 30 guys who are set to go into the knockout round. So we'll start with the guy who is in first place, who won the A block, going in with that bye into the quarterfinals, is Zack Sabre Jr. So he ends with 7-2, 14 points. Night 11, he defeated Evil. Night 13, defeating Gabe Kidd. Night 15, defeating SANADA. Phil, what do you thought about Zack, maybe overall in tournament, and especially this last stretch here, the 3 wins in a row?
I'm feeling pretty good because Zach was my pick to win this tournament, and he's been incredible. Beating Evil in 19 seconds was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hell yeah.
I stood up in my house watching it live at 3 a.m, cheering because I was like, "Yes, get him up out of here." That was great. I think he's had phenomenal matches throughout. Him and Shingo, of course, always have great chemistry. Him and SANADA have great chemistry. And the Gabe Kidd match was fantastic as well. Gabe Kidd has, throughout this tournament, forced people to wrestle his style, and every time it's been great. The storytelling they did in the Zack Sabre match was fantastic. I'm excited. I am cautiously hoping that he wins this thing and heads to Wrestle Kingdom and becomes our next IWGP heavyweight champion.
I'm right there with you. And last week, if you guys listened, I waxed poetically about every single one of these guys. I've been on the phones advising all day, so my voice is kind of thrash. So I'm not gonna take up as much time. And you guys are probably missing Jeremy, and I know he's got thoughts here, but Zach's. I echo what Phil said. Zach's been fucking incredible, and some of these matches have been outstanding. Especially, I loved the SANADA and the Gabe Kidd match. 2 totally different matches, but both so good. Especially, last thing I'll say, him and SANADA did not have to be that good, considering the fact that Zach was already in the tourney, or he was already in the finals, and he put a huge stamp on his trajectory there.
Got Dan Coffin checking in saying, "Hi guys." His best Chris Jericho impression. But yeah, I thought Zach had a really entertaining week this past week. Like you mentioned, he had the Evil match, winning in 19 seconds. Just absolutely great. Of course, you had all the House of Torture shenanigans from the beginning where Evil drags him out. And, normally Zach would have Kosei Fujita, who's injured, is going to be out, would dress up as Zach in previous years to kind of help Zach fight off the whole House of Torture stuff. So he didn't have Vegeta this time around. So Evil, found him in the back, dragged him out. You thought that Evil was going to cheat to get the win, but Zach pulls the fast one, gets the win there. The Gabe Kidd match, absolutely incredible stuff. Also, these guys have history going back to Rev Pro, and the story they told was just really great. And to me, it kind of felt like almost a Bret Hart Stone Cold moment for Gabe Kidd, being locked in the sleeper hole, giving a double bird, refusing to quit, having to pass out. Also, he didn't get the juice that Steve did in that matchup, but still kind of very symbolism right there of Gabe Kidd, the passing out. And, there's a lot of people who want to see him turn babyface. And we kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago when we first kind of saw the pop that he was getting in some of those towns. And so it seems like it's kind of another step to kind of inch him towards turning babyface. And then, the SANADA match, SANADA and Zach always have great chemistry, great technical wizards there. And so that's always one of SANADA's best opponents there. So really great stuff. And going into the final night, I mean, Zach had already clinched first place in the block. I mean, he could have, not shown up and he would have still won the block, but, also he came out here to try and get the 2 more points. And I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, so maybe SANADA's going to pull upset, get to 10. But at this point, it didn't really matter if SANADA was already mathematically eliminated. So I thought they made the right call here, just having Zach win, get more points, and be the really clear, definitive winner of A block. So that moving on, the Dragon, Shingo Takagi, he's clocking in 5-4 with 10 points, coming in second place in the A block going into the quarterfinals. So night 11, he lost to SANADA. Night 13, defeating Evil. And then night 15, defeating Jake Lee to clinch his spot into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Shingo made me nervous here a little bit. Down the stretch, I just was like, the math wasn't mathing for me, and I wasn't sure if he was going to get through. I do think that aside from just across the board, I think him and Zach were the two top performers in the block, which is no surprise to probably anybody that's listening. But some of these wins, especially the evil win down, I didn't love the evil match, but him getting the W was awesome. And then beating Jake Lee on the final night. Neither of those two matches were outstanding, but just the fact that he got through, it fucking finally happened. I guess I should listen more to Chris Samsa to kind of call this shit. But Phil, what were your thoughts on Shingo's week and his overall tournament?
Yeah, Shingo is one of my favorite wrestlers in the entire company. His matches are always really, really entertaining, really hard hitting. Every time he points straight at the screen and does the kata kata kata, I get excited every time. It's fantastic. I feel like he could easily win this tournament as well. I would really love to see him as champion again because he kind of got shortchanged the first time around because he was a great champion. It was just during the pandemic. But he may be a little bit nervous, like he made you nervous here, because I was like, what are some of these losses? You losing to Shota, losing to Callum early on. I was like, dude, what's happening here? I was a little bit scared, but I'm glad that he picked it up. Glad that he landed in the second spot.
Yeah, I was also nervous watching Shingo too, especially with some of those early losses, like you mentioned, some of those lower seeded guys in the block. But yeah, coming back here, 13 and 15, getting those important wins over Evil and Jake Lee. And again, some really solid matches here from Shingo. And like you mentioned, Josh, the Evil match, also there was a lot of how the torture. You had the run-ins, Dick Togo coming out, Kanemaru wearing the Bushi mask, and Charlton and Walker. You're like, what? Oh, why is Bushi turning on? Like, come on, guys. And then the real Bushi comes out. So yeah, you had the whole LIJ versus House of Torture playbook kind of thing there. And Hiromu and Bushi were horrible help. They would get like hit once and be down for like. And this man Shingo was fighting, 3-on-1 for the most part, but yeah, eventually they were able to get rid of Dick Togo and Kanemaru, and Shingo was able to get the win over Evil there. And then, yeah, the Jake Lee match. So Jake Lee was already mathematically eliminated coming into that match. So he was kind of trying to play spoiler for Shingo, but Shingo got the win there. Great closing stretch there where Jake Lee goes for the face break, hell of a kick in the corner. Shingo ducks, gets him up in a Death Valley driver, which then eventually leads into the Made in Japan to get the Last of Dragon to get the win. So really good stuff here from Shingo. And so, yeah, a very important win over there of Jake Lee that put him at 10 points. And that gives Shingo a lot of tiebreakers over other 10 points people here in the block. So Shingo is locked in for the semifinals in the A block, or excuse me, the quarterfinals in the A block. And so he'll go on to face the next man we're going to talk about, Great-O-Khan, also coming in 5-4 with 10 points. So night 11, Great-O-Khan defeated Callum Newman. Then night 13, he defeated SANADA. And then night 15, closing it out with a huge win in the main event against the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Tetsuya Naito. Phil, what are your thoughts on Great-O-Khan?
If you would have told me coming into this tournament that this guy was going to be one of the MVPs of this tournament, I would have laughed in your face. But Great-O-Khan is no longer a meme wrestler, guys. He is no longer a joke character. This guy can really wrestle. He's been having incredible matches. I think he's gotten the best out of all of his opponents so far. 5 straight wins to close the tournament, this half of the tournament at least. Fantastic. This guy, KOPW champion, beat the main champion of this company. Again, choke belt. The choke championship. He beat the main champion in Naito. And I think all the storytelling of it made me like it even more, because you could easily walked into this like, if this is WWE and this is like the 24/7 champion beating your world champion, I've been looking like, what the fuck are they doing? But the storytelling they did here was so good. And having Great-O-Khan come into this match, targeting Naito's knee, wearing him down throughout the match, and just kind of lulling him to sleep and getting a win. I thought that was smart storytelling. I thought the match itself was great. Kudos to Great-O-Khan. I did not think we'd be here, but here we are.
Yeah, earlier in the tournament when he was taking some of those early losses, I just figured like, yeah, it makes sense. I never thought that they were at all telling a redemption story where he was going to start, losing and then, go on a Naito level comeback run down the stretch. I just
Naito.
Yeah, he out Naito. I thought he was just doing. I thought he was just there to like get 6 points and that be that. You know what I mean? I am wondering if we should have changed the logo from Okada, because I mean, think about it. Okada's dreams are coming true. The KOPW champion beats the IWGP champion, and that IWGP champion is Naito. How is that not more Okada's dream than anything else that's out there? Yeah, the dreams of Okada thriving in 2024 in New Japan. With all that being said, Samsa called this last week. I thought he was fucking crazy. It's pretty interesting booking. You can't take away from O-Khan how much he's been wrestling with like a chip on the shoulder, like that he has something to prove. So regardless of how things turn out from here on out, he really has been pretty elevated. And we did say during the preview before this G1 that if he doesn't get elevated now, he's done. It's never going to happen. He's about to get lapped by a second generation of guys. And I think they've done a good job getting him to where he needs to be. Who knows how much further he's going to go in this tournament, but this is a huge accomplishment for the guy.
Yeah, we had a comment here from Rambo saying TJP better watch out. Great-O-Khan may want to take over the faction. Yeah, I think O-Khan would definitely be a better leader for the group than TJP. But yeah, I'm just as surprised as you guys of O-Khan going on this 5-match run in the last week. And we know how the KOPW is positioned. Is, like you mentioned, Phil, it's been, that lower tier title. And they've had the whole eel eating contest and all this kind of shenanigan stuff that we've seen, especially during Great-O-Khan's reign as a champion, more the gimmick kind of style stuff, do all the rural revitalization stuff. And so, yeah, I was not expecting much of O-Khan here. I was thinking maybe he'd be lucky to get to 4 and 5, 8 points and beyond from that. But yeah, making that rally comeback here, 5 straight wins in a row, and then the biggest one of them all, beating Tetsuya Naito on his final block night action. And they set everything up perfectly here with the final match being Naito O-Khan winning in. So very high stakes. The crowd was great. There was so much drama in this match. I mean, it's not going to be, a match of the year contender or anything, but there was so much drama. The crowd was really invested. And I think that the crowd really kind of latched on to O-Khan in this kind of 5-match streak. And we know a lot of cities in New Japan, they do like the underdog and they like to root for the underdog. And so there was a good amount of the crowd, I would say, that were in support of Great-O-Khan. And so closing sequence, Naito hits the corriendo, that running Destino. Great-O-Khan kicks out. And it looks like Naito's about to wrap things up. He goes for the regular Destino, but O-Khan catches him, hits, I think he hit the sheep killer, and then he picked him up for the eliminator. And he did that same thing he does where he puts a hand on the face, tongue out, 1, 2, 3, beat Naito. And then, you get the official announcement of Zack, Shingo, and O-Khan going through. Crowd goes wild. So great stuff here for Great-O-Khan. And so that's going to put O-Khan up against Shingo Takagi in the A block quarterfinals. Winner of that will face Zack Sabre Jr.
One thing to point out, all 3 of these guys beat Naito in the block.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another thing too, maybe we shouldn't be so surprised about the fortunes of O-Khan turning around. Who's the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling right now?
The Ace.
Who used to be his young lion?
Oka.
I'm just saying, I don't know if that's a coincidence that Tanahashi takes over the company. Suddenly O-Khan has got gold around his waist. He's getting 10 points in the G1. I mean, I don't think that's a coincidence,
Maybe it's not. I definitely looked around, even with him winning 4 matches in a row, and I was like, wait a minute. The main event is Naito O-Khan? Okay. But go figure, great match. Crowd was into it, so guess I was wrong.
Yeah, definitely a great matchup here. Really cool to see O-Khan go through, like you mentioned, Josh. We've been kind of questioning, what's next. We know O-Khan is actually going to get pushed, and I mean, we've been big fans of O-Khan going back to the Young Lion days. Oka, we watched a lot of those Young Lion matches and thought he was great in that time period, and we're looking forward to him coming back from excursion and just, didn't go the way that we thought it was going to go for quite some time. And, he got that big win over Naito in New Japan Cup a couple of years ago. And so we thought, that was going to be the moment. But, Naito got the win back pretty quickly. And, he got shuffled off into KOPW land. So very cool to see him get the win here.